In 2021, after years of struggling, Alitalia, the crumbling flag carrier of Italy, ceased operations. Its remains were handed over to a brand new state-backed airline,
ITA Airways, a sky full of Italy.
ITA Airways. With this new flagship carrier came a chance to rebuild Italy's aviation from the ground up. But rebuilding meant facing what had destroyed it in the first place: corruption, nepotism, and inefficient bureaucracy. What? Corruption, nepotism, and inefficient bureaucracy in Italy? Really? Yet with ITA Airways, also known as Alitalia 2.0, Italy set out on the ambitious mission of building a modern airline and become a serious player in European aviation again. And I'm happy to announce that so far it seems to be working. Lufthansa just bought a 41 stake, which means that ITA is now an official member of the Lufthansa group. But do the Germans really know what they bought? Let's take a look behind the scenes and fly to Italy to see for ourselves. Today's journey to Rome once again starts in Zurich, one of 74 destinations served by ITA Airways. The route from Zurich to Rome is among the more popular ones in southern and central Europe and is also operated by EasyJet, Swiss and Lufthansa codeshare partners like Edelweiss, Helvetic and Air Baltic. Now, ITA is not a budget carrier, but the fares are okay-ish. A ticket on today's flight to Rome will cost you anywhere between 100 and 200 euros per person, depending on your travel date and time of booking. In our case, the direct flight would have cost around 150 euros, but a ticket from Zurich to Florence with a stopover in Rome was only 90. So basically you could just buy a ticket to Florence and then basically, stay in Rome. And let's just say some passenger might consider that an interesting option. This practice is known as skiplagging, and Lufthansa has taken legal action against it before. So of course, I don't want to encourage anyone to do such naughty behavior. As for ITA Airways, at the time of booking, I couldn't find anything explicitly forbidding skiplagging. However, I was still a bit nervous to do it, so I once again did what any reasonable man would do. I sent my wife instead, and she'll be recording this flight for us. And just as a quick side note, since people seem to take everything literally, no, that's not the reason she flew alone, which is met later in Italy. And if someone from the airlines happened to be watching this, don't worry regarding the whole skiplagging thing, because of course we intended to go to Florence together. We just forgot. Happens, right? But now it's time for boarding. The aircraft, a brand new A320neo, arrives right on time. It was originally built for S7 Siberia Airlines, but they were unable to take the delivery, probably due to the sanctions. Then it was supposed to go to the Indian carrier Jet Airways, but they went bankrupt a few years before this plane was even produced, so honestly I'm not exactly sure what was going on there. Anyways, eventually it commenced its service with ITA Airways. Due to the low age of the aircraft, the cabin still looks fresh and modern. However, when it comes to the crew, Pajaaree described them as quiet and reserved, which might be the most un-Italian thing I've ever heard. She said they gave a half-second service smile, then immediately returned to a blank expression, and that in Asia crews tend to be much friendlier. And I don't doubt that for a second, but we can't be comparing ITA to carriers from Asia because they play in a completely different league. I think most or even all Western airlines I've flown can't compete with that. Pajaaree describes the seat as clean and comfortable. The legroom, although only 73 centimeters and less than on their older planes, is still fine for her. As a side note, I really do like the style of the cabin based on what can be seen in the video. It was created in Italy by famous car designer Walter De Silva and focuses on comfort and elegance. Pushback is on time, which is also rather un-Italian. If you've ever used public transport in Italy, made appointments there, or have Italian friends, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And well, in this video it might come across like I don't like Italy, but the truth is I actually love our southern neighbors, just like pretty much all Swiss people do. And clearly the Italians love us too, since half of them already live here. I'm just kidding. I really like Italy, and many Italians I know are some of the most fun people to be around with, so yeah, Italy is amazing. Maybe not ideal for getting rich or saving taxes, but perfect if you're into good food. Limoncello, great coffee, sport cars, football, limoncello, and all the other sweet things that life has to offer, like for example, limoncello. Apart from Switzerland, Italy is probably one of the countries I have been the most in, and I loved it every time. And did I mention they have limoncello, something that tastes and feels like paradise. We leave cold and cloudy Switzerland behind and turn south towards the Alps. From Zurich it's only about 100 kilometers in a straight line to the Italian border, which is about the same distance that an average parent had to walk to school every morning when they were young. Even from the north of Switzerland, it's really not that far to Italy. It just feels like it because there is a massive obstacle in the middle of our country called the Alps. Luckily, airplanes are designed to overcome such obstacles using a technique called flying. So the trip to Rome only takes about 1 hour and 30 minutes, which is about the same time the average Italian will spend to explain why you can't order a cappuccino after 11 AM. As a matter of fact, most of this flight takes place in Italian airspace. South of the Alps, we fly over Ticino, which officially it belongs to Switzerland, but I mean they speak Italian, they eat Italian, it looks Italian, the weather is Mediterranean. There are olive trees and palm trees, so to be honest, it's basically Italy. And just like that, I've pissed off all my Swiss viewers too. It's going great so far with this video. Despite the short flight time, ITA Airways serves a complimentary beverage as well as Italian crackers.
Buon appetito!
All roads lead to Rome. However, if you walk to the back of this A320neo, you'll find the 2 economy class toilets located there. Now, as my loyal viewers may know, I'm not really a fan of loo reviews, because I believe there are more interesting things in aviation than toilets. That said, Pajaaree felt it was worth pointing out that the toilet wasn't particularly clean, there was also bad smell, but otherwise it was functional. After crossing the Alps and leaving the north of Italy behind, the flight slowly approaches Rome. For those of you who don't know, Rome is a city roughly the size of Rome. It's Italy's capital and the most populous city in the country. It's also the only city in the world that has an entire country inside of it, the Vatican, the smallest country on earth and one of the few without an airport. Rome, however, makes up for that by having not one but 2 international passenger airports called Rome Ciampino and Rome Fiumicino. ITA Airways only operates to and from the second one, which is the larger and more internationally connected airport. Ciampino, on the other hand, is closer to the city center, but mostly used by Ryanair and Wizz Air.
Effetti personali nella tasca della poltrona di fronte a voi.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rome. Flying with Italy's new flag carrier seems like an interesting experience. However, another southern European country with a rather surprising new national airline is Cyprus. Just click here to watch my deep dive into the new Cyprus Airways.